Greetings everyone. So today we are discussing about the topic sampling and its types. This is the topic which is required from the UGC point of view, and in our research life, those who are scholars, research scholars, and those who are doing the dissertations in their post-graduation level, this topic is very important for them to understand. This is the heart of the whole research. So before understanding the sampling, we need to understand the term which is called population. Population is the entire, we can say, universe from which we have to take a subset. This is the whole set, this is the complete set. Like, say for example, I want to have some kind of research on 9th grade students from India. So all the 9th grade students enrolled in each and every school of India, this is the population. And from this, if I take a subset, like if I take 100 students from North India, 100 students from West India, 100 students from East India, and 100 students from in other states, this will be the sample. So I'll be having a 400 sample out of the entire population of 9th grade students. So now coming towards the types, sampling is actually of two types. This is probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, by which we mean that when we are selecting some sample out of the population, each and every single unit of the population will get an equal chance to be selected. And in non-probability sampling, each individual will not get a chance. We can have some of the individuals from some place, some of the individuals from some place. This means that everybody is not having the equal chance, but some will be selected from some places, some will be selected. We can have a chunk from one place, we can have a chunk from another place. We can have it with our purpose. Like this is, so say for example, I need blind students, and I'll go to one blind school and I'll take one whole sample from there. I'll take a sample of 50 students from there only. So this is non-probability sampling. But in probability sampling, as I said, that there are equal chances of every unit to be selected. So I'll first sample the blind schools. Like in Punjab, I'll sample the blind schools, that how many blind schools are there. So from those schools, I will randomly select some of the students from each of the school, because blind schools are little in number only. So this is probability sampling. Now when we have to draw the sample using probability sampling, there are some kind of sampling techniques which are part of probability sampling. So number one is simple random sampling. Simple random sampling is when I will select any of the individual randomly from the whole population. Now let's understand this with an example. Say for example, I have to select 100 students of 9th grade from Amritsar district for my research. In Amritsar, there is, say for example, a population of 10,000 students who are enrolled in 9th grade in whole Amritsar district. Out of which, now these 10,000 means this is the population of 9th grade students in Amritsar district. Now I have to select 100 out of these 10,000 students. Now when I have to select 100, firstly I have to randomly select the schools in the Amritsar district. There are, say for example, 50 schools in Amritsar district. I will select 5 schools on random basis. On random basis, how I can select? I can have a lottery method. I'll give code to all the schools then it can be a lottery using the computer, or I can have chits of all the schools with all the codes, and then I can select the chits out of it. So out of that I'll select 5 schools randomly, and from those 5 schools I'll select a sample of 20 students from each school. Again, that will be randomly. Let's suppose now in one school there are 50 students who are enrolled in 9th grade. So I have to select 20 out of that. So again, I can have roll number wise chits for those students, and I'll select 20 chits randomly, and those 20 students will be the part of my research work. So this is simple random sampling. Now let's suppose I have to move on the further sampling technique. The next sampling technique under probability sampling is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is a little extension of this simple random sampling. In systematic sampling technique, what I do, let's take another example now. Say for example, I have to survey 100 houses out of 500 houses on a particular area. Fine. So these 500 houses are further divided into different blocks. Now what I'll do, out of 500 I have to select the 100. So when I will divide 500 with 100, it is 5. Now what I will do, I will select every 5th house in the area. Fine. So I'll start from 1, then I'll select every 5th house. Every 5th house, it will become, out of 500 it will become 100. So this is bit systematized. I have make some small calculations, and from that calculations I have selected 100 houses from those 500 houses in a particular area. Moving on ahead, our third sampling technique under probability sampling is that cluster sampling. Now in cluster sampling, what is there? In cluster sampling, I have different clusters to be selected. In this, we are not selecting a single individual, but in this what we are doing, we are selecting the clusters. As I have just taken the example of houses. Now say for example, these 500 houses are divided in blocks. Fine. So for one block for me is one cluster. So now in one block there are, say for example, 10 different blocks. So what I will do now, I will take the names of 10 different blocks. Then out of those 10 different blocks, I will select 2 blocks at random using that previous simple random sampling technique. So now what will happen? Out of those 10 blocks, I have selected the 2 chits and 2 blocks are there. These 2 blocks are 2 clusters from me. Now what I have to do, I have to take all the houses in those 2 clusters for my research. So this kind of sampling is called as the cluster sampling. Next important technique under probability sampling is stratified random sampling technique. Stratified means groups. The word stratified itself is coming from the word stratas. Stratas are the classes, or stratas are the small groups. Fine. So like say for example, now from those 9th grade students, I have to select males also and females also. So there are 2 groups. These 2 groups are called as 2 stratas. So I have stratified my sample. I have categorized or divided my sample on the basis of the gender. So gender here is a stratification variable. Fine. So now on the basis of gender, I will select, say if I have to select 100 students, I'll select 50 male students and 50 female students. Let's take another example. Like say for example, I have to select students from CBSE schools, students from state board schools, and say students from ICSE board also. Fine, so 3 boards are there. From 3 boards I have to select 9th grade students. So now what I will do, firstly I'll select CBSE schools, I'll select state board schools, I'll have a list of ICSE schools also. Fine, so from those list of schools I'll select a few CBSE, a few ICSE, a few PSCB schools using the simple random sampling technique, and from those CBSE schools I'll select now on the basis of gender also. I'll select some male students, some female students. Again from state board, same, male and female students, and so on from ICSE schools. So this is the stratification model. This stratification is a 2-level stratification, in which first stratification is done at the board level, CBSE, state board and ICSE board, and second stratification is done at the gender level. Fine, so this is how we have learned that each unit of the population is getting an equal chance to be selected under the probability sampling techniques. So these 4 were the basic probability sampling techniques. There are other advanced techniques also, but these are not part of this lecture now. Another sampling technique is non-probability sampling. Under non-probability sampling, we have first is purposive sampling. Purposive sampling is done when I have to select my sample from the population for a particular purpose, and for that particular purpose I am not doing the randomization. Like say for example, I want to study the primary teachers teaching in border areas. So I'll direct approach to the border area school with purpose. So from that border area school, I'll take the schools in that particular border area. Suppose there are 2 schools in that particular border area which are primary. So from those 2 primary schools, I'll get a sample of teachers and I'll get my data collection done. So this kind of sampling is called as purposive sampling. Then is convenient sampling. Convenient sampling is the sampling which is done on the basis of convenience of the researcher itself. Say for example, I have to collect data from the whole Punjab state, and from the Punjab state, otherwise there are 28 state districts in the Punjab. But what I have to do, I cannot approach every district under Punjab state. So what I will do, as per my convenience, as I live in Amritsar, I will approach the schools in Amritsar. Then I can at the most go to Jalandhar. So I will go to Jalandhar, or somebody is there who is there in Jalandhar. That person will collect data, that research collaborator of mine will collect data on my behalf from that city. Fine, so this is as per the convenience of the researcher. Another technique, important technique under this non-probability sampling is the quota sampling. The quota sampling is where we have the quotas. Like say for example, under those primary teachers, I want a quota of female teachers only. So particularly I will move to the female teachers only. I will not collect data from the male teachers. I have the quota of male teachers also, quota of female teachers also, but I will collect data from the female teachers only. So this is my quota sampling. Another technique is snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is the technique which is also called referral sampling. When I know as a researcher that the sample I need for my study is not much existent in the population. Say, for example, I want to collect the sample from the juvenile delinquents who had their improved states now, who are out of those delinquent jails, delinquent rehab centers, and they are living a peaceful life now. So I need to approach those individuals. So I'll get a referral from the juvenile jail itself. Say, for example, from there I got information about 2 delinquents who are now living a peaceful life. I'll take the address, I'll go to those people. From there, I'll collect the data, and further I'll ask them to suggest me the more people like them now who are living a peaceful life, and whatsoever information they will give to me, I'll go to those people, and this will become a chain. Wherever I'll go, I'll have a referral case, and from that referral case I'll get my data collected. So that's why this is called as referral sampling, or this is also called as chain sampling. This is also called as snowball sampling. So these were the non-probability techniques, where we have discussed that in these techniques you must have noticed that these are the techniques in which we don't have equal chance of every unit to be selected. We are selecting with it our convenience, with some kind of purpose behind. Fine. So this is non-probability sampling. Now these were the types, and the next question is, why do we need the sampling? Why cannot we collect the data from the whole population? We need sampling because population is very large in size, and it is not feasible for the researcher to approach each and every single unit of the population. That is why we have to choose the different subsets from that population, which are called as samples. On the basis of cost effectiveness, economy in time, economy in energy, we need sampling. And also sampling is required so that we can delimit our research, and we can have some kind of boundaries for our research, so that we can complete our research well on time. Thank you so much.